This is a handheld radio scanner designed to listen to fire and police and marine, that sort of thing. I use it for listening to short track stock car racing broadcasts when I'm at the track. So I'm going to tell you what I've learned about how to get the best out of this device. So when you're at the track, there's an abundance of things to listen to. There's individual drivers and race teams communications going on. There's also what I call the track officials, race control, where the communication goes from the tower to the flagmen that are out in the corners, and instructions are issued to the tow truck driver and to the safety crew and to the fire crew. So lots to listen to. I find that makes the race far more interesting when you're there if you can listen in on that. However, first of all, you have to find out what frequencies to listen to, and we'll talk next about how to find out that information. So if you're watching live stock car racing while you're at tracks like Talladega, Daytona, and Bristol, all those individual race team radio frequencies are published on the internet. So easy to find. In that case, all you'd have to do is program your unit to those frequencies, and you can scan through them, have a lot of fun. And it's very interesting. However, if you're attending the local short tracks like I do, finding the frequencies is a different task. Not too much is published on the internet, some, but not much. The best way to find the frequencies that are active at the track is to actually do a search while you're there. I'm going to explain that coming up next. So these handheld units have the ability to search and to scan. There's a fundamental difference between search and scan, and I'm going to explain that to you now. So let me explain the difference between scanning and searching, because they are different. Searching, this is different from scanning because you are searching for frequencies that have not been programmed into your scanner. Scanning is where it literally goes from one frequency to another, but only with the frequencies that you have pre-programmed into the unit. So searching is what you do when you don't know what frequencies to listen to, and scanning is just like channel hopping on a TV, only it's on your radio and it goes to the next frequency that is engaging in open communications. If there's silence, it will not stop on that frequency. These scanners are able to search thousands of frequencies, and to do so, you'd have to spend a lot of time to land on what you're looking for. Fortunately, scanners are set up with 10 different search banks, and you can narrow your search down to search bank number 9 in the case of this unit in Bearcat. And that will be the range of frequencies between 450 and 470, which is where all the race tracks and race car teams frequencies are. So the first thing would be to narrow down your search bank that way. So once you've set up your scanner to only search the appropriate service search bank. You can begin the search when it finds a frequency that has communications on and seems to be what you're looking for. There's two things: you can stop the device and pre-program it so it can be picked up on a scan later. I also like to write those frequencies down, so I'll have them for programming the unit at a later time should I need to do that. So once you've found a frequency of interest, you're going to want to come back to it. And with that, you can actually store the frequency in your device. You can store up to 300 frequencies, and they are conveniently allocated to 10 separate storage banks. So 30 frequencies per storage bank. It's unlikely that you would possibly need 300 separate frequencies stored, but they're available. Okay, so let's say you've stored a suitable number of frequencies in there and it's time to listen in. Then you would switch to the scan mode instead of the search mode. And now you're going to only scan those frequencies that you have programmed into the unit. And that can make for a pretty interesting thing. Basically, at a race, what happens is you hit scan, and whoever's talking, the scan will stop on that frequency. You can listen in until the communication ends, and then it continues on to the next frequency. So it can get pretty crazy listening to all these different conversations going on, but it's a lot of fun at the same time. So scan is one way to listen in to a bunch of conversations. It's also very possible to directly tune your unit to a specific channel if you wanted to follow just one race team, or if you wanted to listen just to race control. You can set it to that main station, put it on hold, and leave it there. Another option is when you're scanning, if you've decided that you wanted to exclude somebody that's been pre-programmed in there, they have a feature called lockout. And so when the scan lands on that particular channel, maybe that team is irritating you, I'm not sure, you can lock them out temporarily or permanently, and just listen into the frequencies you want. So that's an overview of how I use my handheld scanner to listen in at short track stock car racing. That's a strategy I use. Others may use a different one. Learning how to actually operate the unit is a bit of a complicated thing. I learned it by reading the manual and trial and error. The unfortunate part about trial and error is you can practice tuning frequencies at home, and that's useful to do. However, actually practicing hearing things is pretty difficult to do at home because there isn't many frequencies that are open that are within the short range of a scanner. However, I found that when you actually get to the racetrack, there's all kinds of things going on, including race teams that are lined up for the next race. You might hear their frequencies and so on. But that's the best opportunity to actually practice using the unit is at the track. One thing I should mention is that these handheld radio scanners are made for listening. You do not have the ability to talk, and for them to hear you, you can only listen. That's what a scanner does. The radio teams that you're listening to, they have different types of radios. that they can communicate back and forth with. My son and I listen to the same device quite often, and when we do that, we buy one of those audio splitters, and that enables us both to hear the same communications at the same time, which makes it kind of interesting. So that's an overview of the strategy I use to use the handheld radio scanner at the short tracks. However, learning actually how to operate the functions and so on, you need to study the manual and practice, and that's beyond the scope of this individual video. So that's all for now. Have fun at the races. Bye for now.